Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into a lesser-known chapter in Mariah Carey's career. Her short-lived but ambitious record label, Crave Records. Launched in the late 90s during the peak of Mariah's fame, Crave Records was meant to be a powerhouse, nurturing new talent under the guidance of one of the world's biggest stars. But just as quickly as it arrived, Crave disappeared. Let's take a deep dive into the rise and fall of Mariah Carey's Crave Records. By 1996, Mariah Carey was at the absolute pinnacle of her career. She had released 6 multi-platinum albums, scored 11 #1 hits, and was widely considered one of the biggest stars in the world. Her influence on music and the industry was undeniable. But as Mariah's career soared, she wasn't just thinking about her own music, she was also considering her long-term legacy in the industry. After previously writing hits for other artists, such as Penny Ford, Mariah wanted to take things a step further by discovering and developing new talent. So in 1996, she made the bold decision of launching her own record label under Sony Music's Columbia Records, titled Crave.
You see these people that are so talented, and you wonder, how can these people not be on the radio or not be big stars already? And I mean, I personally know so many people like this, and that's one of the reasons that I was interested in having my own label.
Crave Records was Mariah's way of stepping into the role of a music executive and producer. She had gained enough power in the industry to negotiate a deal with Sony, giving her full control over the label. Mariah wanted to bring in fresh talent and shape them into the next big stars. Mariah, who knew what it was like trying to break into the industry, wanted to make that process easier for the acts coming after her. And with that, Crave was officially launched on February 12, 1997. At the time, Mariah was one of the first female artists with their own record label. It was seen as a major power move, especially for a person of color who was in their mid-20s. She wasn't just an artist anymore, she was becoming a mogul. So, what kind of talent did Mariah sign? Well, Crave had a pretty diverse roster of East Coast natives. One of the first and most notable acts signed to Crave was a girl group named Allure. Formed in high school and managed by Polk from the group Trackmasters, the women were introduced to Mariah during an industry event. Allure was different than most groups at the time due to them all singing lead, which was uncommon.
So the first release for my label is a group called Allure, and they're 4 girls. They're really, really beautiful, really talented. I did some work on the album, and the first single is called Head Over Heels, and it's featuring Nas.
Mariah had a vision for the group. Modeled after acts like SWV and In Vogue, they were set to debut on May 6, 1997. After months of artist development, the ladies were ready for the spotlight. Mariah had written and starred in the music video for their debut single titled Head Over Heels that would go on to peak at number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. Mariah can also be heard singing background on the record. Their second single, No Question, featuring rapper LL Cool J, would go on to achieve significant success as well. But their third and biggest single to date was a cover of Lisa Lisa's All Cried Out, featuring Group 112, which would go on to peak in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. Mariah would then go on to sign a rap group called the Negro League. The lead of the group, Flip Melodics, would famously appear in Mariah's videos for the songs Sweetheart and My All remix. In addition to Allure and the Negro League, Crave also signed an R&B boy band named 7 Mile, as well as European dance group Jakaranda, who is most known for their cover of Never Let You Go, which was featured in the film The Parent Trap. 7 Mile was a Detroit-based group consisting of 4 members who each sang phenomenally. Reminiscent of Boys to Men, the act debuted with their single titled After, that was written and co-produced by Mariah. The song would go on to be featured in the film Trippin'. There was also talk of other rising stars potentially joining the label, such as up-and-coming R&B girl group Black, as well as singer Kelly Price, who got her start by singing background for Mariah. Mariah's goal was to create a label that was diverse, innovative, and influential. On paper, it looked like Crave Records had all the ingredients for success. While Mariah was busy with her own career, she was still involved with Crave, doing whatever she could in between her touring and promotional events. She acted as a mentor, producer, and writer for the artists she signed, and was heavily involved in the creative process. You would often catch her on talk shows promoting the people on her label and taking the time to integrate them with her fans. She would even bring some acts on tour to open for her. Mariah's attention to detail and her experience in creating hit songs gave her the ability to guide the production and development of her artists. She had achieved massive success, continuously breaking records and boundaries. Allure's early success was in part due to Mariah's star power and connections in the industry. However, while Crave started strong, the label would soon be dissolved in an instant. In 1998, Crave Records was shut down after less than 2 years of operation. But why, you might ask? Just a few months before closing, it was announced that Mariah Carey would be divorcing her husband, Tommy Mottola. Tommy was the president and CEO of Sony Records, meaning that he ultimately was in charge of Mariah's career and the future of Crave.
So 4 years after the storybook wedding, Mariah left Tommy Mottola. Were you worried when Mariah and Tommy broke up and he's the head of Sony Records?
Absolutely.
You know, yeah?
Absolutely. Petrified. Because I felt if he can make a career, he can break a career.
Do you think that he might do that? Try to hurt her career?
I hope not. I hope he doesn't.
But there's that doubt.
Always.
Are you afraid? He listens to this interview and he gets mad. And he may not want to put out your next album. I mean, he is in control in that sense of your albums, yes?
He's the head of the company, so he's the one who's calling the shots. And
Their divorce was extremely bitter, resulting in Tommy doing everything he could to make Mariah suffer. This meant getting rid of the label and sabotaging her career on numerous occasions. Mariah attempted to meet with other executives to try and keep Crave afloat using her own money, but the moment she signed her divorce papers, the label was no more. With Crave Records closed, the artists were left to find new label homes. Allure signed to MCA Records, but never achieved the same level of success as they once had. Their second album, titled Sunny Days, failed to outperform their debut, and their career ultimately faded from the spotlight. NBA player Ron Artest would attempt to revive the group in the mid-2000s, but was suspended for a brawl at one of his games during their rollout, foiling all future plans. Allure is still together in 2024 and went on to start their own label where they continue to make music for their loyal fans. Acts like 7 Mile soon disbanded and quit music altogether, while others like the Negro League never even got to put out their debut project. For Mariah, the closure of Crave was a blow, but it didn't stop her career. She continued to release successful albums with Sony Music until her highly publicized departure in 2001, when she moved to Virgin Records in one of the biggest recording contracts in history. She would go on to have one of the best-selling albums of the 2000s with The Emancipation of Mimi. Despite its potential, Crave Records was a victim of circumstance. Mariah Carey had the vision and the talent, but the ego of her ex-husband ruined the careers of so many artists. Many of them would go on to express disdain for the things that went down, stating that they wish they would have gotten a heads-up sooner, specifically from Mariah. This would lead to years of resentment, which ultimately led to Allure attempting to confront Mariah at an industry event. Although things didn't end well between them, she would attempt a shot at creating another girl group in 2009, named Schoolgirls. Schoolgirls was an act that was signed to her husband Nick Cannon's label at the time. Mariah would go on to write and sing background on their debut single, Get Like Me. The group would go on to achieve notable success, resulting in them getting their own movie that aired on Nickelodeon. Even though Crave Records was short-lived, its legacy still resonates. Mariah Carey was ahead of her time as a female artist, taking control of her career and trying to uplift new talent. The label gave us memorable hits and helped artists like Allure make their mark on the landscape of the 90s. While Crave Records may have faded, Mariah's influence as a businesswoman and mentor remains. Having judged American Idol in 2012 and continuing to write for upcoming artists, Mariah has gone out of her way to support the next generation of talent.
I love Mariah. She can do no wrong. You can never make me hate her. She deserves every single flower that she is going to receive tonight and forevermore. She's incredible, brilliant, beautiful, super talented. And, you know, sometimes people give you words of encouragement and it's nothing to them, but it's everything to you. And so I just want to say thank you, Mariah, for encouraging a young Priscilla when I was kind of unsure about what I wanted to do as an artist.
In 2020, following the release of her best-selling memoir, Allure called Mariah out in a post on Instagram stating that they were disappointed in not being mentioned in the book despite her mentioning the label. The group felt like they were being left out of her legacy, which would lead Mariah to release a statement through her representatives a short time later. The story of Crave Records is a fascinating chapter in Mariah Carey's career, a time when she tried to shape the future of music in her own way. Even though it didn't survive, its impact on those involved and the lessons learned continue to be felt. What do you think? Could Crave Records have been more successful if given more time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Anyways, that's all I have for today. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.